Thank you very much.
To go, okay?
I'm sorry?
There's 1 minute to go.
Thank you, Laskin Corla. I'm glad to be able to contribute to this debate here this evening. It's been 30 years since I first spoke publicly about this issue. Back then, in the early 80s, a campaign was underway to introduce a constitutional ban on abortion. Some people wanted this amendment inserted into the Constitution because they were concerned that otherwise we could see a decision similar to the Roe versus Wade case that was in the United States in the early 70s. I was on the Students' Union of UCD at the time when a motion was placed on the agenda asking that the union affiliate to the anti-amendment campaign. And I remember the strength of the debate and the intensity of the feeling across the campus throughout the lecture theatres. And I also remember the discussions that we had in our hometown at the time, in the bars, in the churches, where everybody really got involved in the debate and contributed their viewpoints. It was a very intensive campaign. It was quite shocking in relation to some of the arguments that were used and some of the tactics that were used. And I think that, like my colleague Deputy Humphreys said, it certainly educated many of us as to the problems and the issues that were faced by half of our society. And I think it's shocking that after 30 years, so little has changed. Even after a number of other amendments in our Constitution, there's still uncertainty about the rights of a pregnant woman in Ireland, because we haven't seen any legislation on the back of any of these amendments. And we've seen cases of individual tragedies due to this since then. Now, over the last few weeks, since the publication of the expert group report, I've received hundreds of emails. I've probably received more emails about this issue from constituents than I've received about any other issue in my time as a public representative, and that's now going back 8 years. And those constituents are extremely worried that a failure to legislate and give clear guidance to doctors on terminations has led to an inequality in medicine in Ireland. And I know that medical professionals too are also very concerned about this, and I've heard them on TV and I've heard them on radio expressing their own concerns that a lack of legal clarity in relation to this issue has led to certain treatments for sick women being ignored. So we need to make sure that we get rid of this lack of clarity, and we need to give legal clarity to the medical profession so that there aren't any grey areas anymore for them. The Labour Party has campaigned on this issue for many a year. It's been decades, in fact. It was in our manifesto last year, and the agreed programme for government is very clear on this issue, and I'll just quote what it says. It says that we will establish an expert group to address this issue, drawing on appropriate medical and legal expertise with a view to making recommendations to government on how this matter should be properly addressed. So now we have the expert group report. We've sent our action list to the European Court. And I know, like Deputy Humphrey said, and other speakers as well, I know that this is a very polarising issue, and you know, I haven't just received communication from one side of the debate. I've also received communications from other, and views on both sides are well held. There's no doubt about that. So it is very important that we do approach this issue with the sensitivity that it deserves. But it has been 20 years since the X case, and still the Dáil has not acted. So even though the Supreme Court has laid out exactly what we should do and where we should act, we still haven't done it. And we can't ignore a Supreme Court decision. That shouldn't be something that's debatable. I think that this House has been spineless on this issue for far too long. We have the expert group report now. It gives us the options so that it's clear that we need to act. This report can't be left to gather dust. We were elected to deal with a range of issues facing the Ireland of today. Some of those issues are economic, some of those issues are social. I am very clear, this is one issue that I was elected to deal with. I know the Cabinet is currently discussing what we should do. I want to add my voice to the voices of my colleagues. This has gone on far too long, Laskin Corla. We need legislation, and we need it now. Gurmagad.